review of what we are doing again, right? So that
Yes,
this
sir.
also comes in the. Okay, so I just giving a bit of a review, Hushi, that the first thing that we were studying today for the past papers of O levels business or the IG business is the skill set. So there are basically four skill set that we are keeping in mind. The first one is the knowledge and understanding. The second is the application. The third is the analysis, and the fourth is the evaluation. So we started off with the first assessment objective, which is known as to be the knowledge and understanding. So knowledge and understanding is basically that you need to remember the facts and you need to provide an information. So any concepts that you know, that is your knowledge. So what sort of a question that they can ask you is probably to define something, to identify, or to state. Then I also said that when you are defining something, so you need to provide at least two elements to it while defining it. Let's suppose you outline the responsibilities and the duties. If you're writing the definition for job description and you says outlining responsibilities and duties, so probably he's only going to give you one. But if you add another point to it that needs to be carried out by the employees, he would give you another point. And if somehow you miss an element, you could also add an example to make more sense or put more material into your definition so that you can definitely get the 2 marks. Second thing we talked about was the analysis itself, where we said that, the application, in which we said that the application is something that you put in your answer by taking from the case study most of the times, right? So the application, what are the major rules that we need to take care of while adding the application is number one is that it should be relatable. Like when you're writing an application, it should be related. If it is not a related application, it will not be, considered as a good application to add. Then the second thing is that do not use words from the question. As we just discussed here, that the question stated that high quality service. So he didn't add an application here. So these were the application points he said that you could add. But he didn't added the high quality service. So he added a sole trader here, which you will see probably be given in another question. Let's say this. Here, now there is nothing written about a sole trader that can we add an application of a sole trader? No. Why? Because it was already given in the question. So, which means that anything which is written in the question and is also part of the case study cannot be added as application in your answer, right? Then the third thing that we discussed was some applications used in two different points will be same application, sorry, if you are using it in two different points, it will be considered only once. So in an advantage, you wrote the same application, and in a disadvantage, you wrote the same application. It will be considered only once. Let's suppose the business was about the clothing, so you put an application of clothing here in the advantage and then in the disadvantage as well. So he is going to consider only going to give you 1 mark, not two. But if you add the same application in one question and then in another question, so that will be considered because now the question is different. So you are not repeating the application in the same question. But throughout the paper, you can use that same application in 2 or 3 questions if you want to do that, but in 2 or 3 different questions, not the different points. Then the fourth thing that knowledge should be correct to gain the marks for application. This is very important. Let's suppose if you are writing a knowledge point, and if let's suppose he says that let's say talk about the benefit of being a sole trader, and you say that the liability of the sole trader, it has limited
So does a
liability.
sole trader have unlimited liability?
Yes, it has. It has unlimited. But I want to give you an example here, na, in which the knowledge is wrong. You
Oh,
understand? So you thought that I thought that this is limited. It is unlimited liability, but I'm giving you an example that where the application is not going to be considered. So if you write that it has limited liability and the clothing firm of, let's say, whoever the businessman was, let's suppose A, will not be at major risk. If you write like this. So the clothing part that you have written is your application, but he is not going to consider this application, although it is right. It is written in the case study. Why? Because you made a wrong benefit here that sole trader has a limited liability. It has an unlimited liability. So when your knowledge is wrong, so you are not going to get any mark for the clothing, right? For writing an application. Now, the fifth point that I raised was that you have to sometimes you could add improvised application. An improvised application means, for example, you have the market share in terms of a pie chart. So the company A has a market share of 20%, and their rivals have a share of 30% and 50%. So there are two ways in which you could add an application. You could say market share of A is 20%. In some answer, you have said that. So that is an application. But to write a much better application, what you could do is that you could say 80% of the market is captured by the rivals of A. How? This 80% is not anywhere written in your case study. It is something that you have calculated by adding 50% and the 30%. So it gives a good idea about your application, isn't it? Right? That you have added an application which includes some of the calculations. Now, coming to the analysis, we said that analysis is about, in analysis, we make a chain, right? So it's point and impact thing, right? Point that you will write is your knowledge, and the impact of this is your analysis. So when you were explaining me that, okay, fine, so the advantages and disadvantages you could add here. So I was asking you that if you identify an advantage,
so I
is
have
that
one
an
question.
application? Yes, 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 yes.
In the knowledge point, let's say we have to write a definition. My first part of the definition is correct, and the second part is not that accurate. But I also include an example along with it. Do I still get my 2 marks, even if, let's say, the second part of the definition is not that accurate, but I've included an example?
Yes, you'll still get 2 marks. But you know where you are not going to get the 2 marks is, let's suppose the question was of 2 marks and it said give two factors, right? So
Yes.
there was a space given for factor one and for factor two, or a reason or anything. So you wrote the first factor and it was correct. He corrected it. But in the factor two, you wrote two factors, one
Oh,
and then another one. And if this is the right one and this is the wrong one, will it give you the marks?
uh,
And it's not like and. It's like you have put a full stop here and then you
yes.
gave another factor in the second factor.
So we won't get it
You won't get it. Why?
because it said 2 factors and we put three.
And the second thing is that he is going to say in the marking scheme as well, or the examiner reports, they usually say this, that at till this point, the marks will be given.
Oh.
If your second one is wrong, this one will not be accepted, right? So if
Okay.
students are doing such a thing that they are writing, another point, an extra different point, so they are not going to get the mark for that. They will be marked on this. But this is a case very different when it comes to your 6 mark questions, and I will let you know how. But for
Okay.
later on, we'll keep that. Okay. So if let's suppose you identify an advantage, right? So will it be considered as knowledge or or analysis?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. And then you explain a bit about that knowledge, like it's a cause and effect sort of a thing. So if you talk about its impact, that impact is your analysis. Let's suppose I give you one thing that let's suppose he says that which method, which source of finance is better, like the loan or the equity. Equity means buying, issuing shares, by issuing shares, or you could take the money from in terms of the debt, which is the loan. So let's suppose you are writing about one of the disadvantage of loan, and you say that you have to pay interest. Is that an analysis?
No, sir.
It's a knowledge mark. And if you write with the pay interest that cost of business increases, now what is this?
The analysis.
This is the analysis. Very good, Hushi. Now you understand this?
Yes, sir.
So your analysis should be very clear-cut impact on the business that you're talking about. Making a chain is a good way to do it, but that is for the bigger questions like 8 and 12 marker, where you have to build up a chain. Do you know how to build up a chain?
I think so.
Okay, I give you a point. Let's suppose a bonus is given to employees. What is going to be the impact of this on the profits of the firms?
So, if a bonus is given to an employee, that would motivate the employee, and then higher motivation would lead to higher productivity of the worker. Higher productivity would lead to higher output per unit, which would decrease the average costs. That would increase the profits.
Directly the profits?
No, maybe the
You are
price,
not
the
going to consider that there is a cost to it, although you said that the cost is reducing, but are you directly going to the profit? You are not going to jump to first the revenue that you will be making by the sales?
yes, so maybe they could decrease the prices, which could lead to higher sales and higher revenue.
Yeah, very good. Exactly. So revenue and then obviously the profits. Okay. So few things about the analysis, some of the rules that you need to be careful about. One is that do not jump stages. The thing that you just did,
Yes,
that
sir.
you skipped the sales part, the revenue part, and you came up to the profits. So do not jump stages. This is first thing. Second thing, very important here is that when you're writing your analysis, so you should use connecting words to build upon it, right? Hence, therefore, moreover, furthermore, all those words, right? So this is about the analysis part. Okay, let's suppose I give you one situation. If you are, if you were writing your long answer, like let's suppose E part, which is of 6 marks, which says that 2 marks are for knowledge, 2 marks are for analysis, 2 marks are for evaluation. So if in the first paragraph you have already got the 2 knowledge marks, in the second paragraph, and you got only, let's say, 1 mark for the analysis, so still 1 mark can be given for the analysis if you write later on. So you did that. You gave a knowledge and you link it with an analysis, right? In the
Yes.
second paragraph. In the first paragraph, probably you already got the 2 marks for the knowledge and 1 mark for the analysis as well. You have already got that. Now, in the second paragraph, you, let's suppose, write this knowledge and analysis. Will he give you the mark for the analysis? First, will he give you the mark for the knowledge?
No, because we already included both the knowledge points in the
Okay,
first part.
very good. Now, is he going to give you any mark for the analysis?
Um, Maybe because we are giving an analysis for one of the knowledge points we didn't give in the first paragraph.
Yes, he can still give you the marks for the analysis. Although you tried to give 2 analysis up there as well, but one of your analysis was not relevant, so he crossed that. But then in the second paragraph, just because that you have got the knowledge marks doesn't mean that with that knowledge attached, if you have attached an analysis, he will not consider, he will definitely consider. The only thing he will not consider is that if there is wrong identification of the point.
Oh,
So wrong knowledge means wrong analysis, not
so
acceptable.
that means if a knowledge point is wrong, then the examiner won't check any part of the answer.
He will not check. He will not check. He will not be, because your analysis does not make any sense now. Because the point is wrong.
Yes, sir.
Why would he give you mark that if he was asking you the benefits of the sole trader and you said that they have the limited liability, and then you say that this is good for the business or the business owner in some way, or you analyze it further? Why would he give you a mark for that when your knowledge is wrong?
Yes, sir.
So it means that the knowledge is so important, beta, that if your knowledge is wrong, your application is wrong, your application is wrong, your analysis is wrong. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So if knowledge is wrong, the analysis and application is not worth it. Okay. Now moving forward. So you see here, you also says explain the consequences of the points made. Discussing the advantage and disadvantage, like going into the length of what is going to happen if disadvantage occur. And this is not the analysis. What things are not the analysis? I tell you one thing. Yeah, we can write a rule here as well. The third rule. Let's suppose if you say that it will be good for business, easy for business, business will flourish, there will be hence more success. These are not the developed points. These are not considered as the points of analysis. Why?
Okay.
Because the examiner consider all these words as vague. They have said millions of times in the examiner reports that using such words to analyze a point is only vague because it is not making sense in a way that it is not a concrete thing. The concrete thing could be more sales, revenue, profits, market share, brand reputation, brand image. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Very good, Hoshi. Excellent. Now, Bira, we are coming to
One
the
question.
evaluation. Yes, 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 yes.
So,
Ask.
in the six markers, is it just like one analysis for a knowledge point is enough, or do we need to form a chain of analysis in the six markers as
Not so much, because when we'll come to the six marker, now I will give you a pattern that how you're going to go about it. Although he usually can mark you for, let's suppose if it is a two-sided answer, he can give you one knowledge and one analysis mark, then one knowledge and one analysis mark. 4 marks are done there and 2 marks for the evaluation.
well?
But what
Okay.
we usually tell the students is that you have to provide an advantage and a disadvantage, an advantage and a disadvantage. So in that, there are four knowledge points and four basic analysis developments. Not too big, just a small development. Now, it seems like that this is a lengthy task to do, but this is the way. I will I will show you why. Why this is a way, one thing is that when you are giving only one point in one side and the other in another side, so you might also be doing this that let's suppose he was asking you to compare between job and batch production. So you gave
Yes.
an advantage for the job production and then you gave a disadvantage for the batch production. Okay, fine. I agree to this that you will probably, if your knowledge and analysis is right, so you will get the 4 marks. But how will he give you the marks in the evaluation? If you have already submitted your answer in such a way that you are giving an advantage of one thing and the disadvantage of the other side, so what is the evaluation there? Evaluation is already done in your analysis. It shows that this is the evaluation that because you have chosen a side right from the beginning. And
Okay.
if you only choose only disadvantages of both sides, so what sort of an evaluation you are doing? That if both things are not right, so why are you even asking a business to choose one? Yes, one thing that they can only accept is that both have the advantages. Then you have given for one side for job production and advantage plus the analysis. On the other side, batch production and advantage plus the analysis, and then you come to the evaluation. So he will give you the mark for choosing a side and then comparing it with the context.
Okay.
So this is what is very important. When you're doing it, you need to be 110% careful while you're doing it, right?
And so,
So,
suppose
yes,
I you said job production and batch production. So one of my knowledge points is wrong. I include four knowledge points and one of them is wrong. Will the examiner still mark me on the other knowledge points which are good?
yes. He
Okay.
searched for that. I have seen examiner reports where a guy started off by saying, in the middle, sorry, he just went to the evaluation and said, I think this is better and he was not given any analysis point up there. So here, although he was in his point of view was writing the evaluation, but he gave the mark for the analysis down there even in evaluation. So it means that the examiners is looking for the points there. It is not like that if you have written the first 2 points and the second one is incorrect, so he is not going to give you the mark there. That is a story which is different when it comes to your 2 markers where you only have to identify two things. Here he has not put up a limit to that. If he will put up a limit to it that give two reasons and you have given a third reason and you have made an analysis, he's going to cross that. Why? Because he's going to only check the first two.
Okay.
But if he's just asking you to justify your answer and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of something, so you have written a knowledge point. If it was wrong, then he has thought about it down there somewhere and he has given the marks. And I tell you one more thing. You also need to understand this You're saying now that whether he is going to mark for the second point or not. Sometimes you must have seen that the question says, let's suppose for the application, um, a six marker, D part, where you see that he gives you factor one
Yes, sir.
and then give you the space for writing your explanation. Then he asks you to provide another factor, and then he asks you to explain that factor as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's suppose you say easy for business here. Let's suppose any advantage that you were, let's suppose you were writing an advantage and you wrote easy for business. He will say that the first point identified is vague, right? But
Yes.
it doesn't mean that he is done with you. He's not going to give you a mark for the knowledge. Probably in explanation when you say that because you will have more managers. Let's suppose if it was a point of that. More
Yes.
managers means that it becomes easy to subordinate the work and give the task to different managers and doing all of that. So makes it easy to work because of that, right? So that is the
Yes.
explanation. So he would give you the mark there and then he'll say, usually they say, the examiner says like this, that the first, oh God, why do I always forget to update this app? Okay. So he will say that the first knowledge mark is credited as explained in the explanation part, because they do not use the word explanation part. They have written this 22, 23. They do these numbering to show that which point they are talking about. So what does it mean? It means that he is still giving you a chance, that it seems to be a vague one, but when you were writing the explanation, you cleared it, that what do you mean by easy for business, right?
So then
So
we'll get the
management
number.
becomes, yes, he will give you the number, and I'll show you the examiner reports where he has done that.
Okay.
He has actually done that. Okay, I give you one example here. We can see an example like that. No big issue. So that this is going to, give you a reference for this.
I have one more question, sir. So I like the
Hmm.
assessment objectives of both IGCSE and O levels the same.
If you see this, this is the example candidate response. The right here your answer is. So what he has written, business 0450 IGCSE and Cambridge O levels business 715 115. So the same example candidate response can be used for understanding absolutely the same things, because the syllabus is absolutely same. Everything is same,
Okay.
right?
Why is it
So
different? Like why?
because it is IGs are the IGs are usually offered in, let's say, India. Here in Pakistan, there are very few schools which are providing the IG system. Apart from that, most of the schools are providing the O levels system. So
Okay.
O level stream is here. So that is the only difference majorly. But yes, I tell you that when you talk about the Edexcel, that is different from the Cambridge.
Yes.
That is having a huge difference. Okay. Now I'm coming to the point. I should give you a point where he has given a reason and okay. Let me just look. Okay, he says that it is a relevant one. Okay. Benefit 2, 13, second benefit. Okay, he has identified it well. We are, by the way, looking at a high end student, so that's why most of the things are correct here. We want to see a situation where it was considered as a problem. Mm, okay, he didn't answer the question even down there. That's why he was not given a mark. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. We will see this. Okay. Because I have seen one question where he did a very bad job here at the T, so we cannot consider this at all because the low one was really low in answering this. Okay. Uh, as an Alabama renter, unfortunately, the point is clearly linked to obtain finance, so the comment is not cast as a different answer. Example, distance are not relevant. Is all they had written. This would have gained no credit. Okay. Reason one and reason two. So here, okay, I want to show you this as well. So you see here what he has done. Identify, first look at this because this is also very relatable thing. Identify two possible reasons why business might want to expand. Here he said that more market share due to more revenue of sales. What he said that the second reason identified both marks awarded at this point. They have already given. So the candidate identifies the third reason. This was unnecessary as only the first two answers will be marked. What does this mean? It means
Example,
that even, yes, yes, go on.
the examiner won't read it.
He has, he might read it, but he will not consider it. It's that simple. Because he wanted to give an example, a candidate response here, so he had to read it because he had to mark a point here. But usually the examiner is going to read the first 2 points. If the second point is right, okay, fine, 2 points are given, no need for the third one. And that's why I said it here now, that this was unnecessary as only the first two answers will be marked. Whether they are right or wrong, they will be marked, not the third one. So one
Okay.
thing that we were discussing is clear here. What else? The other thing. Okay. Yes. I got that. So, explain two factors Gloria should consider when deciding whether to take on a business partner or not. So, she said profit. The word profit on its own is vague. So, he is not given the mark for the knowledge, right?
Yes.
But then what he did? He said that taking on a business partner means Gloria will have to share her profits made on her house cleaning service. Now it is more clear that she will have to share the profits. Now, what does he say? He says, understanding that she would have to share her profit gains one knowledge mark.
Okay.
So you see,
Yes, sir.
smart. So even if you make a wrong point, but if you are able to provide a good knowledge point down there, it will be considered.
Okay.
But that is not something that we should aim for, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
Because that is, that is the worst case scenario, basically. So we are not basically relying on that. So you see, these are the very small things, Hoshi, but very important, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. So now let's just move on. So what we were saying, okay, we were saying a lot of things. So we were talking about basically the evaluation. So First thing is that there are two things that I want to, mention here. Coming up again with the evaluation, that what are the key things that you need to be careful about? The rules for evaluation. I remember that I have done something like this just today.
Even
Okay.
sir, I think in the starting of our classes, when you were marking one of my chapter one workbooks, you told me little bit about evaluation.
Yeah. But today I was teaching somebody about this. I remember that. So I actually gave some points there regarding it. Oh my God, so much messed up. So messed up here. I guess I have done it here somewhere. Let me just check. Because those were very good points which were mentioned. Where is it? Where is it? Is it somewhere here? No. It was, yes, I remember it was, I guess it was somewhere here in the files. Let me just check. I was discussing the scheme of, no, not, not the scheme of studies, the sample answers. I guess this is where have we added it? No, actually, it was here somewhere. Yes, I remember. Yes, here. Okay, so we can use this data as well because we'll not have to write everything then. Now you can see the rules of adding the application. I just did it here today, so I remember it. Do not use same application in two different points. One thing, do not use a word written in question as application. We have talked about it. Application should be relevant to the point in discussion. We have talked about it. If in another question the same word you is used is same word used in previous question will now be valid to add as application. This we have also talked about. And improvised application that we have already talked about. Rules of evaluation, very important points here. First thing is that there must be a correct identification of points, the advantages and the disadvantages. So you should be able to correctly identify what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages. And then you should also be able to correctly analyze the earlier identified points. Why this is important? I tell you why this is important before coming to the evaluation. Identify second method like the other side of the story, right? Apply one and two. So first you are going to do it for one side, the advantage and the disadvantage, identifying it and giving analysis of it. Then for the other side, identifying it and giving the uh, mm, after identifying it, you are also giving the analysis of it. Now both sides must be equally balanced. Why? I tell you why. Number one, let's suppose if this is the first scenario that for one side you have there were two factors that you had to discuss about. Let's suppose loan or equity, let's suppose job production, batch production, let's suppose on or off the job training. So you talked about the advantage of on the job training and the disadvantage of off the job training. Is it a balanced thing for your evaluation? No. If you give for a disadvantage for the on the job training and a disadvantage for off the job training and with good analysis and it was all accepted, but still you are not going to get any marks for the evaluation. Yes, this he usually accepts. that the merits are there for the on the job and for off the job, and then you can evaluate. So this seems to be more much better. But the best is that you identify the advantage and disadvantage with the chain, advantage and disadvantage with the chain, and then you do your evaluation. That would be the perfect thing to do.
Okay.
Okay, now it seems like that you will be like, okay, sir, for one single advantage, when we have two things, the knowledge and analysis. So we get 1 mark here and 1 mark here. So 2 marks for one single advantage. So two here, two here, two here, two here, and then we are moving to evaluation, two here. So we have performed an answer of 10 marks. Yes, there's no doubt about it. But what actually happens is that when the students are writing the advantages and giving a chain of it, sometimes the chain is not accepted, sometimes the advantage is not accepted, and this can happen. So just to be more
The safer
precise
side?
with your yes,
Is it like a safer side to do that?
more sort of a safer side, but this is also something which the Cambridge also tells you how, where I can show you that where do they say this? I have yes, I have that file. I show you that where
Is
they
that
have actually said it.
how do we include so much in just like 12 lines?
Mm, that is a skill, na beta. That is the skill that you need to be aware of that how you are going to do it. So that is very important that you should have that skill to do it. Okay, I tell you how. This is how. This answer, a sample answer is written in which the advantage and disadvantage are added. And then again, the advantage and disadvantage were added. And then he wrote about the evaluation, which was not so good an evaluation. But what does he say? Look at this.
Oh,
The examiner would expect to see both advantages and disadvantages of each option discussed. This is the specimen paper answer uh, file that I'm showing you. And this is what is the Cambridge is saying. Now, what do you
okay.
say? How about
Yes.
it? You get the idea now?
Yes, sir.
So you explain the two methods, give the advantages, give the disadvantages, and move on. So the only thing that you need to have a skill of is that you need to be very skillful in terms of doing this. This needs a skill. And to do it in 1.5 line, 1 line, this is a
Yes, sir.
skill. This is a skill. Let's say you say you will have to, let's suppose, mm,
Because I tend to
w-
write long answers, like more than 12
yeah, you have
lines.
to stop doing that. You will have to stop doing that. You can't make a big chain there. So what you do is that let's suppose you say that what you can say. If you're writing a point for a supplier, that if the business is booming, so how the supplier will be benefited? He will have more sales. This could now be your advantage, and you could add it here, which will result in more revenues and profits for the business, right? So this is
Yes.
the result of that. Or you could also say that if your point, if you have the point which was already given there in the question was that what are the drawbacks of having low skilled workers? Right? This was that they have already given. So you will say the knowledge point. The knowledge will be here that their efficiency will be low or productivity will be low. Or if you say efficiency will be low, so there will be lesser output, more mistakes, right?
Yes.
And which will cause the bill. So this is your sort of an analysis. Now, sometimes, Kushi, what happens is that when you are writing your, this is something that you have to think about. Sometimes they have not even given you the method. Let's suppose mail is a method, like this answer here. Oh my God, what is wrong with this paper? Okay, here. So you see, here the knowledge is in this particular question, this yellow line. One method is meeting. This is your knowledge now. Now, what will be your analysis? Meetings are good because you can get everyone together, and if someone has a question, it is easy to respond quickly. So you can, you give an advantage and give a chain. So your this can also be considered as part of your knowledge, right?
Right.
But what you need to do still is that you have to talk about the advantage, have to build up an impact, have to talk about a drawback, have to give an impact for that. You can't escape it. Why? Because this is something which the Cambridge has written that the examiner would expect to see both advantages and disadvantages.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So you see how important this is. Now, coming back. So that's why what I say is that not this, not this, not even this. Do this. You know where this will be only applicable? In a question where they are saying which one is most important. So, there, when you are talking about some importance of something, so are you going to talk about the drawback? No, you're
Yes.
only going to talk about the advantage there. So there you could do, but there you could also add two advantages, not a big deal. So advantage, and the evaluation. Now, the statement of evaluation must be written. Okay, what is the statement of evaluation? Statement of evaluation, beta, is that let's suppose you write, I think email is a better method of communication. Is there a mark for this?
Yes, sir.
There is. In which case, you will not get the mark for this.
Um,
In this case, you know what the examiner will say in this case? He will he will just say that although a statement of evaluation, no, a side is chosen in the evaluation, but will not be marked because it is not supported with the right knowledge and analysis. He will
okay.
not give you the mark for this. But if you have done this or this, so you write this, so examiner will say 1 mark will be awarded for choosing the side. Got it?
Yes, sir.
That's why
So
I've
I was
written that this. Yes, yes, yes.
suppose the question is such where it's difficult to choose a side, then how do we?
Um, Sometimes we can give an answer which is more of a diplomatic sort of an answer, like when you're considering the situation, like that, it depends on the cost of the business. It depends on the elasticity of the product. It depends on the length of the time period that we are talking about, whether you need a loan for the short term or the long term. Let's suppose if he is asking you about two different types of loans, and he says that which one is better for the business to have. So if he has not talked about in the question that he need a long-term finance, if he has not talked about anything which states basically the timeline, which gives you a hint of the timeline, so you could add it in your evaluation that it also depends on the fact that for how long you need a loan. Because
Okay.
if you are talking about a debenture sort of a thing, if and it also depends on for what purpose you need the loan. If you need it for a very small thing, so debenture would be enough. Sorry, oh my God, why I'm saying debenture? Overdraft would be enough. But then if you're talking about, let's say, something for which you need more money, so a long-term loan probably would be enough, would be
Okay.
much better. You get the idea.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Excellent. So this is also very important that while writing your evaluation, you can consider such things, but usually you get to choose. You get to choose. Right?
Okay.
And now moving on, a mark for stating your decision will be given. Okay, so I said the statement of evaluation must be written. You are going to reject one and two. So the statement of evaluation will be rejected for this and this, but accepted for this and this. Now, the next thing. A mark for stating your decision will be given only if at least both merits are identified and analyzed above correctly, right? So they must
Yes.
also be correct. Now, coming to the next thing. Example. First side, you gave the advantage, knowledge, and analysis. You gave the disadvantage, knowledge, and analysis. Then the point to, okay, it's the second side, advantage, knowledge, analysis, disadvantage, knowledge. This is what is should be done. Now, points to be noted. If on one side, two knowledge marks are given, let's suppose here the 1 mark is given and here the 1 mark is already given, right?
Yes, sir.
No marks for further knowledge will be given. Not here and not here. But for the other side's knowledge, the analysis attached will be marked if in the first side already only one analysis mark was awarded. Let's suppose if analysis mark was awarded here and not given here. So now he can use this or this to give another mark, even though he is not considering the knowledge. And this cross does not mean that the knowledge was wrong. It was just that the knowledge, because if the knowledge is wrong, then the analysis is wrong. That is a
Yes,
common
sir.
sense thing. But if the knowledge is right, but he has already given you the marks up there, he's not going to give the marks here. But it doesn't mean that he's not going to consider the analysis if he has already given 1 mark and he still have the chance to give another, so he will give somewhere here. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now the evaluation must be based on what? Hidden application in the context of. Let's suppose we have already discussed about this, Kushi, on the job and off the job. You remember? We
Yes,
discussed
sir.
that if there are two options given on the job and off the job, and the question says that decide for a manufacturing business. So we said
Yes,
that
sir.
we are going to choose, let's suppose on the job, we are going to give the advantage and disadvantage of on the job with the chain, advantage and disadvantage of off the job with the chain. Now we are saying that we are going for this. They are going to correct it, but we also have to not only consider this hidden application in the question. Sometimes it is not given, but most of the times they do. If they have not given, don't worry about it. You can give a very more generalized evaluation. But if it is given, that is much better because it gives you sense of direction that what you are going to write in your evaluation. So
But we
having a
shouldn't.
sense of direction that what you are going to write in your evaluation is very important.
So
Yes?
we
What were you
mustn't link
saying?
it. So we mustn't link it to the text.
Which text?
Like the first four parts of the question are linked to the text or application mark, but in the E part, the application is either hidden application or there is no application, right?
No, no, no. Yes, 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 yes. That is the
Okay.
case. That is the case. So, a hidden application you can use and you can give the point, and then you are giving that evaluation point should not be in isolation. A comparison is must, right? So, This is one thing, hidden application. The other thing is that evaluation point should be in isolation. A comparison is must. A comparison is must. So you give a comparison. Giving a comparison, what does giving a comparison means that it gives more sort of, a good evaluation, because if you are giving a point in isolation, giving the reference that, okay, fine, I select the job production method, or I select the on the job training, on what basis you have to compare it, why it is better than the off the job. So hidden application is going to help you in doing that comparison. And then the last thing, above knowledge, if repeated in evaluation, so no marks awarded, because you have just written the same thing that you have written in the analysis. Do not do that.
Okay.
Give a new point, but new point doesn't mean that the point is out of the world. Giving a new point means that it should be in comparison to both of the scenarios, right? Okay,
Yes.
just give me 2 minutes and I'm coming back. So we are done with this evaluation part. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay, Kuchi, coming back. Now, now that we know about the evaluation as well, so we have talked about very some of the new things here as well. So, okay, how about I attach this page, these two pages, basically. Okay, basically this part first, so that you have it in your notes. How about this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Kuchi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
So, am I not audible?
Yes, Kuchi.
So, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are. Okay, so I am doing one thing. I'm just copying these rules into your file. Oh my God, there are so many files that this has become all messed up. So I only need your file so that I can attach it very quickly. Okay, great. So here in business, I'm going to attach it. I'm going to attach it where I am going to, I will need a page here. Okay, paste, right? So these
Yes.
rules are, you can, have a look at it whenever you want to, so you can refer them to. Okay. And this as well, how about we just copy this whole page? This is good set of information we have. So we are going to use this here. So I'm going to add paste page. Okay, great. Right. So this is done. So now let's just kick off very quickly with what we are now going to do. So, Kuji, till now, we have talked a lot of things about
Yes,
the
sir.
application, about the evaluation, about the analysis, the identification. Any questions related to this by now?
No, sir. It's clear.
Very good. Now we are going to move on. By the way, you must have done all of this in your school as well, the assessment objectives and everything, right?
Not really. We didn't go in detail.
Like, okay, but they have touched these things a bit.
Yes.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, now we are, Hushi, coming to our paper one directly.
Yes, sir.
So in paper one, we have the total marks, which are going to be how many?
80.
Okay. And total time?
Uh, I think it is 1 hour 30 minutes.
Yes. Why are you not confident about it? Okay. So now we are going to discuss here that how many questions are there going to be? Question number one, question number two, question number three, question number four, question number four. That's it. Okay. So part A, B, C, D, right, and E as well. I am missing things. What is wrong with me? Okay, so A, B, C, D, and E. How many marks? The four,
20.
the six, the six. Right?
Yes, sir.
So 20 marks each.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I can say that these are 20 marks each. We have done the major thing, which is knowing the assessment objectives. Now we just need to know the division. So once you know the division, you know what to write. Okay, now he says that for part A and B, so we are going to now divide it, further dissect it, and talk about only the question which are of 2 marks, the part A and the B parts. So, Khushi, which assessment objectives are required in A and B overall that you see?
Knowledge.
Or If he asks you to calculate something using the data, then what?
Then application.
Yes. So basically, Khushi, knowledge and or application, right?
Yes, sir.
So it means that we have about A1 and A2 to discuss in all of these parts. And it is going to be of how many marks it is going to be. Sorry, how many minutes you have to spend, Khushi, in doing these questions. What do you say?
Uh, Maybe like 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes.
Not more than 2 to 3 minutes in doing this.
Okay.
Save time. These are easy. You know the definition, you write it quickly. You know how to calculate, you do it quickly. You know what factors to write, you write it very quickly. So they could ask you basically to define, state, identify, or calculate. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So these are basically what we call the key terms, right?
Yes, sir.
Which will be asked in a question part A, or it could be part B. Okay. Now the next thing that we have here is that we have to see one question. So we can see here that let's suppose if this is a question, define mass market, and you are defining it. So you say large number of goods produced for large number of buyers or sellers. So that is going to give you 2 marks because you have identified two things here. So let's say we say, I'm just writing very common definition. So large number of goods produced for large number of people. Or you could say and have large number of buyers or and sellers. So for large number of buyers. Okay. So then the other question could be a type where he's asking you to calculate the percentage of people who buy beauty products online. So there must be a case study related to the beauty products on which they are asking you to do. What are the two things very important here? One, you can see here that read the command word carefully. This will help you to know exactly what you need to do for each question. So when we say Kushi, that I am talking about define. So what does this mean? This means that he is talking about A1. And then I'm talking about, let's suppose, calculate. So by calculate, it means that we are talking about AO,
Yes, sir. Two.
AO which? 2, right. Now he also says show your working. So what you need to do is you have to show the working and make sure you give your answer in the correct form. That is very important. If you will write, let's suppose, okay, I show you this. He usually do not give the marks if you have done such a thing. And what thing? Let me show you. Let's suppose there was a question, Kushi, in which you were supposed to give this break even. So one of the student, this is a high one. Yes. So he said he was asked to write break-even output. So he said $60,000. One thing he didn't only mention that it was a wrong output. It was also the thing that he didn't put up a sign there. So he will talk about both of these things. So break-even output is not a financial value. So this response automatically gains 0 marks for including the dollar sign. So you see,
Yes.
so what does it mean? It means that even if he had added saying dollar 500, would he be given the box?
No, sir.
Because 500 is the output, the units. So he said that, so this response automatically gains 0 marks for including the dollar sign. Just for doing that, he is giving you zero, which is okay,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay, so anything about the two marker, Khushi? You want to ask any other thing that comes to your mind? You want to ask?
No, sir. It's clear.
Most of the other things we have already discussed that if there are two factors, so in the second factor, you are writing two more factors there, he's going to consider the first two, right?
So,
Now moving to the B and now the C part, actually. A and B are done. So question number one, two, three, and four. We have the C, 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 and C. And we have the what you call it, the objectives. So which assessment objectives in C part do you see?
knowledge and application,
By the way, how many marks?
4 marks.
Okay, knowledge and application is what is required here. Um, so AO1 and AO2, AO1 and AO2, AO1 and AO2. How much time do you s- do you think you should spend on a C part?
3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, it should be done in about 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, better is that you do it in 4 minutes, and it should be right. So, but usual time that they usually give, the usual time that they basically tell is 4 to 5. I guess it is the same. Yes, 4 to 5 minutes they usually tell. So 4 to 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Okay. Now, Khushi, the question is, let's suppose identify four methods of the primary market research that a business could use. This is a type of a question if comes in your exam, you are one lucky person.
Yes, sir.
Why is that, Khushi?
Because it's just knowledge point which you can quickly write down.
Exactly. So you just only have to write the methods like interview, observation, right? Then
Surveys,
the
questionnaires.
surveys, yes, the observation is there. Then that, why do
Focus
I
group.
always forget that? Yeah, focus group. So you could add the focus group. So those things could be added here very quickly, and you are going to get the full marks. But it is not always going to be the case that you will be so lucky
Yes, sir.
because you could also be seeing questions like these. Outline two ways Isaac could increase the added value. You write the way. Let's suppose you say increase selling price, or you say what? Decrease
The
cost of
cost.
material.
Yes, sir.
And in the explanation, you can just simply write that increase. Kushli, do we need to write an outcome here, like the
No, sir.
impact here?
Because we are not getting marks for analysis, so we don't need to put that.
Exactly. But you know what happens is that while explaining, I've
Yes,
seen
sir.
in examiner reports sometimes what they do is that while explaining, if the kid is not even explaining it correctly, so like correctly means that it is not clear. So if you are giving a bit of an outcome or give a bit of a clarity of your explanation, if there is more clarity in your explanation, you are going to get a mark. Otherwise, they sometimes believe it as vague, right? And on
Okay.
top of that, if you have not, write a point here which is clear, so at least you should have a point which is clear here. If it is not even clear here, so he's not going to give you the mark for the knowledge. And then you could also add the price to it. Let's suppose you say that Isaac could increase the selling price from $10, which is probably written in the case study, and reduce the cost of the cotton that they use as a raw material to produce the clothes, right? So
Yes, sir.
this is what is given here. Okay. So you have 4 marks for this. Any questions related to this, Kushi?
No, sir.
Very good. Then we should move on to the next one very quickly. And that is the D part, Kushi. So D part, where should we write? I guess, okay, this is D. So here we are going to write. Question number one, two, three, and four. We are discussing now the D part. How many marks are there for the D part, Kushi?
6 marks.
Very good. Your energy seems to be very down today. Why is that, Kushi?
It's not down, sir. I'm just a bit tired today. We had an extra meeting after school, so
Oh God. So that is the reason. Okay, no problem. Okay. So we are just about to finish in about 15, 18 minutes and we'll be done. Okay. So AO1, AO2, AO3, and oh, why I am writing? I wanted to ask you, what am I doing? Okay, no problem. So AO1, AO2, and AO3 are part of this. Now, Kushi, how much time they have already talked about it here? 5 to 6
5.
minutes. So not more than that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
I have a question, sir. In the time limit we are writing, are we including rechecking the answer as well?
If you calculate the time, na, let's suppose you are spending 10 minutes on an E part. I give you the whole calculation of this. So let's
Yes.
suppose if you are because that is going to give you an idea that how much time extra do we have to recheck and do the other stuff. Okay. And I will have another thing to say about the rechecking as well. I'll talk about that. Okay. First thing is that for an A part, you are saying that you are spending about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, we take the maximum time. So what
Okay.
happens then? So A is 3 minutes. B we said, sorry, A and B is 3 minutes. Now both combined is 3 minutes. So C we said about 4 to 5,
4.
so 5 minutes, let's suppose. I'm just trying to give the maximum time so that we can see that how much time do we left with, are we left with. So about 6 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and in E part about 10 minutes here. So it gives us about 10, 16, 21,
22,
4, 4,
24.
24. Oh my God, this is going to be a problem now. I guess this is. So 24 is going to be multiplied by 4. How much time is it?
That will be around 96.
96. 96 minutes. You need, Kuchi, you need
And
six
the
extra
paper is
minutes from
15
the examiner.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you need. You need 6 extra minutes from the examiner, which he's not going to give you. So this is what the range that they have given. But I would just wanted to check that how far it goes if we do that. But usually now we are coming back to more strict part where we are considering 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and that I will keep 10 minutes because this takes time.
Okay.
I'm not going to, deduct any more minutes there. So 15, then 19, 21. Yeah, that will give you some time, Kushi. So 21 into 4, it is going to give
80,
you about how much?
84.
84. So 6 minutes margin now you have. And I guess most of the time when you are doing it and you are reading a case study, I guess it can be read in 1.5 minute or so. So you would be easily able to do it. And most of the times you're not considering one more thing, Kushi. What is that?
Yes,
We said 4 minutes. How much time will this take? Will it take 4 minutes?
not really.
It will hardly take 1 minute, Kushi. So
Yes.
you'll get time here as well, right? So definitely, you will still have about, if two questions of those sort are coming, even if one is coming, so still you have about 10 good minutes, I believe.
So, like
So
when I'm
10,
practicing these questions, what happens with me is the first three parts I can finish them in 5 to 6 minutes, but then the D and E part take me so long that it kind of goes to 25 minutes.
yeah, because the reason is that, Khushi, what happens is that when you are writing it down now and you are not having a planned structure in your mind while writing it,
Yes.
it takes then more time to do it. Although I always believe that, yes, it is fine, it is fair with the student that it takes time to also, understand it as well that okay fine if I'm writing it down so what do I need to take care of is that uh, I have to think about the point. I have to think about a good analysis related to that. Yes, they also take time, no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean that you are not every other time you are having this problem of not being able to do it on time. So, so it's the only solution that you have for it is that the more you practice about your questions, that how you are going to structure it, the more and more you are going to write about it, it is going to be much, much better with time, right? But it will definitely take time to understand this because it requires practice. One thing. Okay. Now, let's just come to this part where we are done with this, right? So we have talked about the time limit as well of the D. So what is coming in D part? Let's just talk about that. So we have here the knowledge. We have here the application plus the analysis. A good outcome that you have to write. Here, Khushi, do you think a one-liner outcome would be enough? Like with the
Yes.
point, a one-liner outcome.
So, if I give an application knowledge and then a one liner outcome, I think it should be enough because we're just getting 1 mark for it for the analysis.
Exactly. Exactly. But it should be better than this. Because
Okay.
here you see the number of lines that you are being given. So here you are given good 4 lines, so you can use that. But using that does not mean that you start wasting the time. It is also not necessary that you have to fill up all the lines. But the good thing is that the good thing that you can do is that you make a clear chain, right? Give a clear impact. If the clear impact is not there, he's not going to mark it, right? So
Okay.
if the clear impact is there, so it doesn't matter. Let's suppose I show you. If you look at the high answers, Let's say we have this high answer, D part. Now, she has used all the lines because she was explaining it. So, a good analysis requires a bit of explanation. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
So, to write a good analysis, you will still be, even if you don't want to, but you will still be able to use all the lines because it's not too much of the space that they have given you to write your, analysis. So, this will be fine. Now, it means that there must be a knowledge point which should be attached to an impact, which is your analysis. And while talking about the impact, you can also slide in what? The
Application.
application. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, Khushi. So finally, the last question. We are now coming to the very last question, and I need to. Where am I going to write this? I need to know that where am I going to write this? Okay, so I'm going to remove this part then. Then I can write it here as well. So question number one, question number two, question number three, and question number four. And these are basically talking about part E, and E. And we have how much marks for this? Six, 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 and six. And which assessment objectives are required here, Kushi?
So the knowledge, the analysis, and the evaluation.
Yes, and you know what? In 2027, they are again they have changed the syllabus and they are coming back to the main thing where they used to be before 2020. They used to be, the question from the case study. The
Yes,
E
sir.
parts were also connected to that. They are coming back to that again. But they will also be changing the structure. So it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8.
So one question is, oh, it's like economics then.
It's like economics then. And in an 8 marker, what they have done is that they will be, you see there are 12 lines. So
Yes,
they
sir.
have given these 12 lines, plus they have written here justification.
Oh,
And for justification alone, they have given 4 lines, which is good.
that is really good.
Although they have added the application part as well to add for you, but not too big of a deal because you just have to write a word now and you actually
Yes.
get a mark for that very easily. What is not right is that you do not have enough space to write your evaluation. And you see, that's why they have given now 4 extra lines just to write your evaluation.
Yes, sir.
But by then you will be done with your exams. Okay. So not for you, but for the sake of having the knowledge, it is fine. Okay, AO1, AO3, and AO4. AO1, AO3, and AO4. And AO1, AO3, and AO4. Okay, now I'm going to just write a simple structure here. He said that, do you think maintaining customer loyalty should be most important? Okay, so this is more of an advantage sort of a question. I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to give you a question where he's probably asking you to compare. Let's suppose he says that is the job production the best method to choose? He can, actually give you the mark for writing the batch production even. Even that could be considered as knowledge. You understand that? Because that is not something which is written in the question. The question is only says that job production is there and what you can do, right?
So in my evaluation, if I put batch production,
No, 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 no. You're not going to do. What do you mean by that? Like you are not going to talk about the batch production in analysis and directly bring it in your evaluation.
you said that the question is about job production, and if we include batch production, we get the knowledge.
Yes, you get the knowledge mark, and he's asking you now that is the job production the best method of production. So you could add batch production and it will give you the mark for the knowledge. And if you decided to go for batch production in your evaluation, that would be absolutely fine if you want to do that, if you have a logical reasoning.
So, sir, like this question where it says, do you think maintaining customer loyalty is important? So, in this, I would give an advantage. So, would it be like I would give an advantage and then say another method and give an advantage for that and then suggest?
Yes, the advantage, another method, the advantage, but with the chains. Remember that, and then justify.
Okay.
Okay, I will do both of the things here for you. Okay, so here we have this. Let's suppose the first part says existing customers. So you write the advantage. And even if you want to write another advantage, you can. Not a big deal, but I guess this will be enough if you even write one. So, oh my God. Okay. Then you have the second point, which is the second point is the new customer. Again, do the same. What is wrong here? Okay, do the same thing, analysis, advantage and analysis. If you do, even if one, it is fine. I'm just writing for, that safe side thing. Recommendation, and you give the recommendation from the point of view of the comparison, right? So comparison should be there. The other method that you could use is, um, let's say, job production, advantage, and what? Oh God, advantage and analysis of that. And then again somewhere advantage and analysis, and this is batch production, and then you have the disadvantage and its analysis, disadvantage and its analysis, and in the end you have the evaluation that you're going to write. Got it?
Yes, sir. So,
And
sir,
yes, yes,
the new
yes.
method, like for this question, the maintaining customer loyalty. So, the new method can be anything that's relevant. Like, since they haven't specified the type of business, we can give any other method, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you can give any other method, but just keep that in mind that if you're comparing job production with the flow production, that doesn't seem right.
Yes, sir.
Specifically, if he is asked in a question that for a small business, and this is what the examiner has asked here in this paper as well. And somebody wrote about the flow production as a comparison, and he said that this is not relatable. Why? Because here you are talking about a small business. How can a small business become so big that they have started doing the flow production, right?
Yes, sir.
So here we are only done with paper one, but too many things to discuss, and we have discussed a lot of things, a lot of very important things, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I guess we are going to keep it to this and discuss the paper two in our tomorrow's class, right?
Yes, sir.
We have a class tomorrow.
Yes, sir. 2 hours.
Yes, exactly. So we are going to have a class tomorrow exactly at 11:30, right?
Yes.
So 11:30 to 1:30 Pakistan time. Okay, Kushi. So you have any other question you can ask me? Otherwise, we'll just put an end to the class.
No, sir. No other questions.
Okay, Kushi. So this is it for today then. Let's just meet tomorrow at 11:30. Take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Bye-bye.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.